Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. I did this video yesterday, and I wanted to shorten it and get to the point faster. I want to talk about the day I was in court, and I had to do something I tell guys to do a lot of times, which is shut the hell up. If a judge starts telling you or starts asking questions and interrupting your oral argument, if you're representing yourself, or if you have an attorney, you're put on the stand, you start talking. A lot of you guys have a problem with, oh, no, let me tell the story this way and this and that. You need to get out of your own little world, your own little narcissistic, egotistical, emotional world that you're sitting in here, and step outside yourself and realize the judge is a little bit smarter than me on certain things. The judge listens to cases all day long, so he wants to get to a point. I'm not going to piss the judge off by rambling on and on and on. Let's say the judge said, okay, the night the children were at the movies, where were you? And you might think that he's setting you up or whatever. Well, Your Honor, actually the week before when I had the kids, they were talking about going to the movies and blah, 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 blah. And it was a sunny day. And then the storm came in really fast. So I decided to go in the house. I was going to go nearby the theater where I could be there to pick them up, but I had to go. The question is, where were you when they were at the movies? I was at home, or I was at the coffee shop, or whatever. That's the answer. And I know judges get frustrated asking questions, because I do it all the time, and I get people pissed at me for asking questions, especially if I say something like, well, why did you do that? And I'm being sincere, and somebody made a really stupid mistake, and I want to clarify why they did it so we know how to argue why they did something stupid. So that's, I had a guy the other day, I was asking him questions because he was all over the map and changing what he really meant. He got pissed, and then it turned out his daughter was getting molested, and he told me he didn't have a good reason to modify the parenting plan. So he waited 2 years before he tried to modify after she was first getting molested. And the mom was still with the boyfriend whose kid was molesting her daughter. I think he got pissed because I simply asked him, why didn't your attorney jump on that then? Then I asked him another question, and I said, well, wait. You told me you weren't modifying, but that you went for an injunction to get your kid. And he said, just for that temporary period of time. I said, well, that is custody for that period of time. But if you're going to go to court and do all that, why don't you just go for full custody? And he goes, well, let me finish this and that. I said, well, I need to clarify what we're even talking about right now. Because, if you're telling me something and you're misinforming me or going off on a tangent or you're contradicting yourself and you don't get your terms right, you have to be able to communicate. This isn't, like when I do consultations, it's not just, let's just sit and chat like it's Oprah and just ramble on and 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 tell me your entire life history and stuff. I just talked to a guy today. We're getting 30, 40 minutes into the call, and he gave me about 5 minutes worth of information. I kept trying to ask some questions, and he wanted to go to the backstory. I said, what about the other day? And he goes back a year, and he's going month by month. I said, dude, you don't need to do all that stuff. So I understand the frustration of judges. Now, most of these judges are corrupt and idiots, so I don't like them, but you still want to play the game. So when you go to court, sometimes you got to shut the hell up and only answer yes or no questions when they ask, were you there? Were you at the mother's house the night she called the cops? Yes or no? Well, just so you know, just shut the hell up and just answer the question. You got to be an idiot when a judge is in control of your access to your kids and you refuse to do a simple third grade level thing that any third grader could do and answer a simple yes or no question. You will piss the judge off, and then they'll get mad at you for no good reason, and then they might not want to give you your kid because you're being evasive, not answer the questions. So let me give you an example. I said I was going to try and shorten and get right to the point, and I didn't do it, but one reason I talk a lot about different subjects and people get pissed, oh, you took 9 minutes to get to the point. Well, this is free, mother effer. Go pay an attorney $400 an hour to not tell you this information I'm telling you. You see how stupid my gender is? You're mad it takes me 9 minutes to tell you some jewel of an information your attorney will never tell you, but you go pay an attorney $400 an hour to tell you a whole bunch of nothing. This is what the hell is wrong with my dumbass gender for the most part. So that's why I'm only looking for what the 1% of you who actually cares, to actually want to fight and actually want to listen to a winner. 99% of you want to argue with me, talk to me about why I shouldn't charge them my time, argue with me about what's in my videos, argue with me about what happened in my case, and you weren't even there. Dumb mother effers who wanted to make excuses to why they're being pussy-ass bitches. Now, let's get to the example that I want to give you where I shut the hell up. Because I don't ever tell you guys to do something that I don't do myself or didn't do myself. Unlike all these con artists out here like Judge Anthony and not Command the Courtroom. That lady's good. Family Law Corner. Spent $100,000 on attorneys and she's going to teach you how to represent yourself. So when I went to court in 2003, I think it was January, February 2003, the mother was doing a contempt motion against me because, you know, I was supposed to serve her attorney paperwork instead of her. Our court order says serve the attorney of record. And the attorney was being evasive to avoid it. So I just went ahead and I found out where she lived in California and I served her there. And I told the judge, like, what am I supposed to do? It says serve her attorney. Her attorney's being evasive and won't tell me where he's at. It only gives me a P.O. box and I got to deliver stuff right away. And he's playing games. He's setting this up on purpose, and now they're turning around doing a contempt motion. There was no bad faith. There was no willfulness, elements of contempt. If you're defending a contempt, you need to know the elements of contempt. If you're doing a motion for contempt, you need to know the elements of contempt. So I argue that, yeah, I did deliver the stuff to her when I had no alternative. So I have a reasonable excuse, and it wasn't willful and bad faith. Those elements are not there. You can't find me in contempt. And I was able to make that argument because I know case law. If you don't know case law and you don't know how to do that, whether you have an attorney or not, you should know what your attorney should be saying in court. Just like you should know what everybody who works for you is supposed to do. If you have a landscaper working for you, they're supposed to edge the lawn, put beauty bark down, plant a tree here, trim this tree over there, and chop down that. And then when you leave and go to work all day, when you come home, exactly what you ask them to do is what they're going to do, and that's what you paid them for. If they edge your lawn in a square and you wanted it in a circle, you will be pissed. But see, the problem with family court is most of you don't give a shit about your kids enough to get informed about what the hell is going on in your case or learn this type of stuff, or you watch my videos and goes one ear out the other. A lot of people call me up, or a lot of people who want free, cheap, and easy consultations and not have to, fully learn everything. They'll just ask a vague question in the comment. Hey, can you deal with trial? What the hell about trial? There's 5 million things to talk about in trial. Can you be specific enough? That just shows me you're either too dumb or lazy, or you don't want to pay for a consult and you don't want to really learn. But you'll spend $10,000 on an attorney. And I could talk like this because I had the gumption to look up everything that I needed to know to get ready for my case, just like getting ready for a job interview or getting ready for a test in school or getting ready to do anything that you're supposed to do. You prepare for it. My gender doesn't do that in family court. They think they'll just throw money at an attorney. It's too traumatizing to learn this stuff and pay attention to your case, so you just trust an attorney to be a miracle worker and fix it, and you're not proactive on your case. I got people that I've worked with, back in the day when I did paperwork or I micromanaged a case, they had me on the case. And there were people who were still lazy or shiftless who didn't listen to what the hell I was telling them to do, and they didn't do it, and they bombed their case. And they had the best advocacy. There's people who had, a 90 to 100% chance of getting full custody or changing stuff, but because they were too much of lazy-ass bitches to not go to the court and file something, or I gave them an assignment, and they didn't do that because they didn't think it was a big of a deal. Those people don't give a shit about their kids, and that's 90% of dads out there. 10% of dads will front, and the real warriors comes down to about 1%. So, the court asked, the mother was doing contempt on me. She was trying to get a restraining order, and then she was trying to do something else. She was trying to modify part of the order. So, we had a hearing. The mother's attorney argued. The family law commissioner cut him short and then turned to me and said, what do you have to say? And I started talking. I was going, blah, 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 blah. She goes, wait a minute. Did you do this on this day? And I said, yes. And then, what about this on that day? No. And then, what about this? And then she turned to the mother's attorney and said, I'm denying this. You can't do a restraining order in this court because of this and that. The contempt motion is denied, blah, 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 blah. I shut the hell up and I won. I didn't have to say anything. But you guys won't even give it a chance to please the judge for a moment and just answer the questions. If they're railroading you and stuff, you have a chance to clean that up later. Answer the
you.